Amon-Ra St. Brown first overall. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I think it's always, when you're talking about the first round, I think it's always a go out and get your guy.
Come on.
Let's go. Oh, man, my heart was beating on that one.
I can just tell you, when we get down to the actual numbers and projections, that team is going to score a lot. There's a lot of fantasy goodness.
There's like 50 feet of shit, and then Kyler and Edwards.
So forget that. I don't want to draft guys on bad teams.
Doesn't matter. They're going to figure out a way to get him the ball. Good offensive coordinator. Arthur Smith is not a good offensive coordinator.
You guys are team 3 and 4. There's no point to take Stroud, right? Like, is there a point to take Stroud in a best ball format?
Get it.
Wednesday night live draft coverage is here after 3 straight days of Pros v. Joes. We return with our first main event live draft coverage of the year. I'm your host, Aiden LaCorey. Joining me, Dave Tripoli. A throwback show, just me and Terp tonight. Terp, I gotta admit, I didn't know if we were going to get this one. We were looking iffy entering today, and then the high stakes players at FFPC do what they did, and we filled 9 spots on this Wednesday, and we got a pretty loaded draft room. Some familiar names, just Remy LeBeau, been on the show before, 1st and 15. Abib Agbatoba's drafting, and a lot of familiar teams. FFPC main event, $1 million grand prize, $2,200 entry. It's the granddaddy of them all. It's the flagship contest at FFPC. I'm excited to break it all down. Turp, off the bat, one, how are you doing off of multiple days of Pros v. Joes coverage? And also, Amon-Ra St. Brown at the 104. Remy LeBeau always keeping it spicy for us.
I'm doing well, first of all, and I love a little spice in our first main event coverage. I mean, St. Brown has been literally stuck at the end of the first round and pretty much drafting, being drafted there all the time. So, hey, Remy knows. He's a guy who's been playing this a long time. He knows that there's no chance St. Brown's coming back to him. You want to be a little different. He does a bunch of these. Do I agree with it? No, but at the end of the day, in the main event is way different than some of these other contests we do coverage on. Go get your guy. I mean, you're spending that kind of money. Why are you going to – if you think St. Brown's going to be a top 1, 2, 3 receiver, why don't you take him? There's no reason not to, because he's never coming back. So, would I make the pick? No, but I don't disagree. Main event, it's all about getting your guys.
I want to say last year, maybe it was at the time it was the Fantasy Birds Championship, now the Big Gorilla. I want to say we had a live stream where Remy took Amon-Ra first overall.
I'm pretty sure he did, if I remember, because now it's done a little flashback. And actually, I think it was on our little preview that we have going, that he was the guy that took St. Brown number 1. So he's clearly a fan of St. Brown.
Was that the Howard clip? That might have been
the Howard clip. Yeah.
That was a main event too then. So he's taking he's in Remy LeBeau is a Amon-Ra St. Brown guy.
Hey, and he's a talented player. There's a lot of questions this year. Obviously, with the new offensive coordinator, Williams, another year in the system, Laporta, Gibbs, obviously taking that next step. Is the pick worth it? I don't think so. But again, this is all about getting your guy type of situation.
Yeah, his ADP over the last 2 weeks in the main event is at 202. So obviously, no surprise, it is kind of evident, but Remy LeBeau pushes him up a ton. I mean, Terp, I know you kind of discussed it a bit. We got a Caps fan in the chat. Hell yeah. That's what I love to see, combating Sean Green's Penguins fandom. Terp, you talked about it a bit on the Pros v. Joes streams. Obviously, that's best ball, but still Bob Lung, I believe in draft 1, Saquon fell to the 9 spot, which is crazy. But, Saquon Barkley's been dropping a bit. You're the resident Eagles fans. I know for those who are maybe tuning in because this is their first time seeing a main event unfold and haven't watched previously. Can you kind of address the recent drop for Saquon Barkley? Do you understand it? Is there any valid reasoning behind it? What's going on there? He's been consistently falling now to that, middle of the first round, when before he was a pretty clear top 5 pick.
There's 2 reasons why he's falling. Number 1, people are scared of the workload. They're just worried about, all the carries he got last year, all the touches he got last year, and, will he be able to get that same, usage? Number 2, he's getting up there in age. So, I mean, he's never been the perfect model of health. So injuries are definitely something that if you're banking on a top, 7 pick and Barkley, is your guy, it's a risk. It's definitely a risk. And again, everybody can get hurt. And I personally don't really worry about injury history, especially if it's top half, like guys like Christian McCaffrey. Like if you're drafting him, you're definitely worried. But Barkley's kind of in the same regard. So, I don't necessarily agree with the fall. I understand, the workload issues. I mean, because, he got every carry last year. There's nobody behind him. And realistically, there's nobody behind him this year. Like Will Shipley, AJ, the corpse Dylan. I mean, I don't really see there being any reason why his workload will get any less. But he, like I said, he's getting up there in age. Is there potential at a Super Bowl hangover? There's a little bit of worry of Saquon Barkley. I'll be even on the field. Obviously you can't fade a guy like that. Like if you faded him last year, you're pretty much drawn dead in most formats because, where he was falling. I mean, he was in the 3rd round of some drafts, in July and even early August. He never moved until that late, obviously late draft in Vegas after the game where he went nuts in nuclear. And that Saturday draft, he was number 1 overall, number 2 overall. And he warranted it all year and it all paid off. But, it's a risk. It's definitely a risk that I think the top 6 is pretty secure. I think he's in that top 6. But I do understand the questions.
Joe King in the chat. McBride will flip Bowers soon. True or false, Terp?
Draft-wise, false. At the end of the season, I think it's true. I think Trey McBride, I mean, he literally ran the worst he possibly could last year when it came to touchdowns. Like, wow, Chase Brown, 7. Fall of Ashton Genty. Main event drafts are so fun because, like I said, like it's all about getting
Genty and Bowers stacked too. I mean, not only that, you're investing in an offense where, as much as we like
the Raiders' offense,
interesting.
It's crazy because last night's Pro versus Joe's, we had 2 Raiders in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Genty went 8, and Bowers I think went 2. Now they're on the same team, which never happens in these. So it's a cool build. It's a build that I personally don't mind. I like both players. I'll probably be underweight on both players, all things considered. That team just, I know everybody thinks like Chip Kelly is going to be the revolutionary offensive coordinator there, and Geno Smith is just a superstar, but they're weak on the outside, receiver-wise, Dante Thornton, Trey Tucker. There's nothing really exciting. Toby Myers is a really good football player. No disrespect at all to him, but I just feel like that division is stacked, and the Raiders are definitely the worst team, out there.
Terp, conversation currently going on in the chat is about how in main event drafts, quarterbacks fall more. Can you maybe elaborate? Obviously, you're a heavy best ball player. You dabble in the big gorilla drafts, and you obviously have your more than fair share of main event drafts. And your experiences, why do quarterbacks fall in main events for those who may not be aware?
I mean, you're playing for a ton of money. So quarterback's so deep this year that you really don't have to push them up. Like in best ball, you're looking for that spike week type of potential. Building a main event team, building a gorilla team, they're a little bit different because, like I always say, you have to click a button. So, obviously these guys are probably all going to go in the 4th round. You're going to see Allen, you're going to see Jackson, you're going to see Daniels all go in the 4th round. No matter main event or not, I don't think they come out of the 4th round. You might see a little bit of a fall with Burrow, a little bit of fall with Hurts, just because, you're trying to build a lineup. You're trying to build depth. Like quarterback's a onesie position, obviously, and there's no flex options you can use at quarterback. So, it's a little different than tight end. Tight end, you can draft a bunch and use a bunch. I mean, if you want to click that button every time. So it's always trying to find my mentality at quarterback's always been the same. Obviously I'm going to have some Lamar Jackson. I'm going to have some Josh Allen. I'm trying to find this year's Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels was a cheat code last year. You find that Jaden Daniels, or you find a guy that's close to Jaden Daniels, could it be Justin Fields? Could it be Dak Prescott? Could it be Brock Purdy? Could it be Trevor Lawrence? We're on the list of all the potential. Could it be Patrick Mahomes, who nobody talks about, who's literally ignored, in the fantasy circle anymore? They're all possibilities. Bo Nix is another one I just saw in the chat. Justin Herbert, if you're in the dangerous, but you're all about like trying to build a roster. So quarterback as a onesie position, they're going to see him fall a little bit.
Terp, we're waiting for Team 1 here to make their second-round pick, but off the dome, real quick, your favorite start to this draft is Team what?
6.
I'm leaning
Team
9.
6.
Give me 9.
I like 9 too.
The LSU receiver cheat code.
I like 9. We don't really talk about Malik Neighbors that much, and I love Malik Neighbors. Had a ton of Malik Neighbors last year. Drafted Malik Neighbors on all my main events that I've had. Love the player. The toe thing worries me. I don't know why it worries me. Why didn't he get surgery? Like that's like a Giants move. Like your best player, your franchise pretty much. Why did he not get surgery? And I'm not saying like he's talking about today he's going to manage it and he should be good and all that stuff. And he's a ridiculous talent. And they have no other issue but to get him the ball. But it worries me. I don't worry about injuries. I always say like avoid injuries. Don't. But if the injury's already there and like about it, it makes it a little bit more tricky. And
don't hate 11 either, by the way. Team 11. Like
I don't hate 11.
If you're that is a upside swing that could win you $1 million. If McCaffrey stays healthy,
I really like 2. I really like what 2 did with Robinson getting Bucky to go in the 3rd, and then Tyreek.
Look at this running back run right now.
See, main events are just different. They're just like you don't see like in best ball. People get caught up in the yellow. People just get caught up in receivers and the Garrett Wilsons, the Tyreek Hills, all those guys are just getting pounded early. T. Higgins, all those guys, they fall a little bit in main events because you're trying to build a roster. You're not going to see many, 0 RB teams anymore. I think like when I say 0 RB teams, I mean like the old school, like first 7-8 rounds, no running backs. If you see that in the main event anymore, you're probably, unless things run perfect for you, you're drawing dead because you saw it last year. The 0 RB teams, they failed. All of them, every single one of them. The Derrick Henrys, the Barkleys, the Robinsons, the Gibbs, the A-Chains, all those guys, Kyron Williams, Jonathan Taylor, Bucky Irving, running backs ran fantasy football last year outside of, a couple guys.
Turk in the chat, Jimmy Virgilio. I think that's how we say it. How viable is a Knicks Ingram combo going to be? I'm going to save that because I know my guy Turp is going to love to talk about that. You give him an opportunity to hype up Evan Ingram, and he'll take it. So we'll discuss that when they're drafted. Man, the running backs are getting steamed up.
There's a lot of good teams. I mean, the Amari and Hampton, like Garrett
Wilson. With the
Wilson,
Najee injury, is Hampton? I know Balky was saying on Insider Access that running back 17 is, which was his ADP, I believe, in the Big Gorilla, was a little rich for him. But I mean, he's just going to keep going up, especially the longer Harris is at. Where are you at on Hampton? He goes at the 306, running back 14.
You got to have some, and that offense obviously is going to be a run-heavy offense with Jim Harbaugh running the show. There's just so much information that's not there on Najee Harris right now.
Mm-hmm.
Amari and Hampton went in the 2nd round last night. He went in the 2nd round of my best ball draft I drafted the other day. I'm not sitting here saying it's a bad pick, but you're banking a lot on a rookie. You're banking a lot on a guy that you don't know if he could pass protect. Like, is he 100? Like, I know he's a talented kid in college, and I know, all the stats were there and all that stuff, but are we 100% sure that, he's going to be a 80-20 guy to be going in the 2nd round? I mean, that's rich. I mean, we're not 100% sure he's going to catch a lot of passes. Like, there's a little bit built-in risk for me, and I just personally like some of the guys over him. If news comes out that Najee Harris is going to be out for the regular season for a couple games, that changes a little bit.
Yeah.
But on that case, he's probably going to get up to where Chase Brown's getting drafted, and that to me is just too rich.
Steve, that Team 6 is our guy Steve G in the chat. So I'd love to hear. The reasoning behind it. Was that an exposure? Was that a belief in Hampton and maybe some, Najee being out furthering boosting, or is that simply getting caught up in the running back run that was there? So I'm intrigued if Steve is listening and wants to drop why he took Hampton. I love it. Quarterback starting to go. We'll see if that picks up at all. Lamar, the first one off the board. I want to direct you to Team 7 because they obviously got a little bit of the Saquon dip. They reach on Chase Brown, and then they get Garrett Wilson. What are your thoughts on their start to this draft?
Love it. I mean,
there's no really bad team here. Team 1 I saw was getting a little bit of hate, but I don't know.
I don't. It's not terrible. There hasn't been any picks yet where I'm just yeesh. The Lamar Jackson pick to me is just a little early, in a main event. he probably gets Lamar Jackson if he waits to the 4th round, gets a guy like, Kenneth Walker or, Marvin Harrison or something like that, Alvin Kamara, McLaurin, whoever it is, and you still get Lamar Jackson, because I don't think anybody here is going to take a quarterback. So it probably was a little early. But besides that, like, there's no wow picks that, like, I think a lot of these teams are building like really, really solid teams. Like, I like what Team 5 did. I like what Team 4 did. I mean,
Team 12.
We're
just going to be hyping everyone up, I guess. Like, I mean, that's what we're trending right now. But
I mean,
good draft.
Marvin Harrison is. I know I'm a stan, and I had a ton of him last year. He's probably my number 1 receiver. And I don't know if that's going to change this year. I don't know if that's going to change this year, because like the value is ridiculous, and you would think with one of the most talented receivers coming out in a really long time that they're going to figure out a way to get him more balls. They're going to get him more. And my worry is always going to come down to one thing and one thing only, and that's Kyler Murray, because I just think he's a terrible quarterback.
I do want to note another little bit surprise. Marvin Harrison was going at the 311, so he goes there, but JSN falls from middle of the 3rd to the 402. It seems like a pretty good value there for Team 11. Yeah, like right now, I'm just, maybe it's just a personal philosophy, but like the fact that JSN and Marvin are going behind Terry right now is a little bit surprising to me. But so far, as you said, not a ton of crazy picks outside of Remy going Amon-Ra. We've had some slight risers, some slight fallers, relatively. I do got to ask Team 9. So I love their start, Neighbors, Brian Thomas. Gotta love the Lamar Jackson pick. I do think he is the QB1 this year. I think it's him or Hurts, or Allen. I don't know. It's just one of the.
I think it's Jaden Daniels. But...
Okay, and I think there's a little regression for Jaden Daniels. That's my take.
I think that's definitely in the range of possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably wrong. I'll go out on a limb. But James Cook at the 404. I know we've talked about him before, so we may be repeating some talking points. But just every time I see that click between a possible Holden candidate, there's going to be touchdown regression. Ray Davis is there. I just feel as though he is the running back, really the player, not even just running back, who I just feel as though the value just doesn't correlate to what his season is going to be.
I 100% agree with you. I mean, I'll take James Cook just because that offense is just extremely good, and obviously you want to have some pieces of it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to full fade him. If he falls to a certain spot and my build makes sense, then I'll take him. But he was just so dependent last year on touchdowns. Like, besides touchdowns, he really didn't do much. So, obviously, he scores the same amount of touchdowns or very close to it. He's going to be a great pick, especially where he's being drafted. But I don't know. He's just not somebody I'm clicking that often. It could be something that bites me, but I'm going to take my chances. I'm drafting more Ray Davis.
KT in the chat, do we think Tyreek will end up at the 1-2 turn come September?
No.
Yeah, I think the most he moves up is middle second, but I think he's going to hover around that 2-3 turn. I mean, I think we very well could look back, and the shocking one for Tyreek Hill is not that he wasn't at the 1-2 turn. The shocking stuff is going to be that you saw him in the 4th round, even just like a month ago. Yeah. I think his value, even in this draft, is about his maximum. Just because
I don't think he gets pushed. I think he can get past McConkey. I think he can get past AJ Brown, because those two guys are not getting any hype right now.
I think there's some, like, if you're not a London guy, it's like right around maybe the 206, 207 is the highest.
People are scared of Brian Thomas. I could see him falling a little bit, obviously, with Travis Hunter there. But I don't ever see him getting above, Henry, Genti, Nico Collins, Puka, H.A. McCaffrey, none of those guys. Obviously, you're going to see there's probably going to be 2 guys in the 3rd round, maybe 3 guys. We'll go ask you this question. Name 3 guys in the 3rd round that you think by the time we draft, I draft in Vegas and we're sitting there at Paris in live drafts, 3 guys that you think will be in the 2nd round or higher.
3
I think
guys.
It's pretty easy. I think it's pretty easy. We mentioned one earlier.
Who did we mention earlier? I mean,
Amari Hampton, I think is.
Oh, well, yeah, I think that, but that's like I was looking at Hampton,
Garrett Wilson.
Garrett Wilson.
The third one's a little tricky. I don't think it's a. So I think
I
you
mean,
can
but
make a
like
case.
the third one is going to be like any one of Taylor, Bucky, Josh Jacobs is like the easy answer.
I think you get Breece Hall if Breece Hall move up. I don't think it's that crazy. Josh Jacobs, obviously any one of those four guys can get up at the tail end because the number one pick, as great as it is, you get Jamar Chase. I feel like, and I said this before, if you're drafted in Vegas before the first game, I would prefer being at the end. I prefer being like in the 6 to 11, 12 range. That'd be great. But if you're drafted after these games, I feel like you want to be at the beginning because you could really have guys fall to you in that second round if both those games go a little haywire. Like we talk about this a lot. We're going to talk about this a lot in the next month. But like, there's a ton of guys in that game, whether it's AJ Brown, Devonta Smith, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley, quarterbacks, and then we got Xavier Worthy, Pacheco, maybe, Kelsey. Then we have Lad McConkey, Amarian Hampton, guys like that. All those guys could really flip that second round on. Like you could be talking about Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, AJ Brown's not even AJ Brown, but unless he stinks, but Brian Thomas, like Drake London starts. So, them first two games are fun, man. I can't wait for those. I'm really, really excited about them.
So obviously on our past streams, and I haven't been on in a couple of weeks now because I haven't been on Frisbee Joe's. Last week, Balky was covering for me.
Yeah.
And which was fun watching that back. Watching you guys start out with the wrong big gorilla draft. Gotta love it. And then
he was like, Jahmyr Gibbs. And I saw the text. And it was like, this isn't the right one. I was like, oh, I could just see Balky's eyes just going like, oh man, I screwed up.
Gotta love it. That's why the people come here is to be entertained.
Course.
But I haven't been on since Rashee Rice. Kind of a bit of a change because it did go from a lot of those Twitter legal experts, as I'll call them, which do a great job. We're kind of like they always kind of said it was dependent on when his settlement would come, and they were pretty not confident. They were saying it was trending to be kind of in season, which was looking like he was going to clear it. But obviously that has quickly changed. It's looking now like he's going to be suspended. Some people are saying 2, some people are saying 4, some are 6. Who knows? Are you surprised that he goes at the 407, despite now a seemingly strong likelihood that he will be suspended, let's just say 4 games?
No, I mean, it's really, really hard not to like him where he's starting to get drafted. Like we talk about on this show a bunch, pockets to draft. There's an unknown right now with Rashee Rice. We don't know how long he's getting suspended. Let's just say he gets 2 games. Where does he go? Probably close to back to where he was getting drafted. He gets in that middle to early third round with 2 games, right? If it's 4 games, then it's going to be 4th, and you're going to see him like dip to the 5th because as we start getting into drafting season in August and middle of August, when some of the what's the word for it, the part-timers who don't draft a ton of these drafts, they're going to be scared of Rashee Rice. So the pockets there to draft him are going to be really, really nice. And if you're a Rice fan, you're going to probably get him in the 5th round if he gets 4 games. And to get a player like that who has
Steve is saying,
talent,
like, look what Steve did, right? Like he's not with a core of Jay Jetta, Drake London, and now Calvin Ridley, who I know Turp, you and me both love, is he can survive an early Rashee Rice suspension. So he's built a good roster to do that. Chad is popping off. I do got to shout out Turp, our guy Mo Jenkins, the resident Cowboys fan of chat. Mo Jenkins does owe me from our bet in Vegas because the Eagles did finish ahead of the Cowboys. I believe it was just.
They didn't just finish ahead of the Cowboys. as my buddy Mo, who I just talked to recently last week, just checking in with him, making sure he's still alive and going to be out in Vegas. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys, in my lifetime, will never win one of those. So,
I believe Turp. I believe Mo owes me $50 in a shot. What was the?
I believe
the
that
he had made.
And he owes me to wear the Jalen Hurts jersey during his facilitating. I don't know if I'm going to make him do that or not. We'll see. We'll see how Thursday goes and everything like that. We'll see how the game goes. But we'll see. I like him. He's good people.
Turk, looking at that fifth round, you've seen kind of the run on a couple of rookie running backs there, but discussion in the chat, Sean Green, I believe, started it mentioning that he thinks, or maybe there was a question. The chat, let me just say, is as active as I've seen it this year. So props to everyone out there watching. But the question was Chuba Hubbard goes at the 501, running back 18. Sean Green, I believe, mentioned, I just saw up, he said he's having a hard time clicking Chuba. Are you having a hard time clicking Chuba Hubbard in your drafts? No, and can you explain why? No,
I mean, they clearly believe in him. They paid him. Obviously they brought in Rico. They brought in a rookie, the brother of ETN. I mean, but Dave Canales has belief in Chuba Hubbard. So he is being drafted. He's one of my favorite clicks in this little range. If you're waiting, if you don't have a running back by now, I like almost every single one of these fifth round running backs, like Hubbard, Harvey, where he's being drafted. I didn't love him in the third and fourth, but where he's being drafted now, we talked about this on a couple shows before, is lovely. Swift, I'll have some. I believe in Ben Johnson, but I don't Swift. I just don't think he's a good football player. I think he has flashes. Travion Henderson, probably my favorite rookie running back coming out of the draft. Mixon, I know he's a little banged up to start camp, but Joe Mixon's a warrior. He's always going to be out there. He's going to figure it out. I know Nick Chubb's there, but we're really worried about Nick Chubb long term. And then James Conner, same type of situation, always produces. So to me, Hubbard is one of my favorite clicks. If I'm, it all depends on, again, structure. We talk about all that good stuff. It all makes sense. I wouldn't take like Hubbard as my third, running back in a build. Like that doesn't really make that much sense. But as like a RB1, if you're wide receiver, tight end heavy early, or if you start off a Bijan Gibbs type of situation and you're taking him as your RB2, I'm good at that.
I just got to shout out Bravado in the chat, waiting for the 10 p.m. Big Gorilla, just finished a 7 p.m. Big Gorilla. That's why you're here, right? This year you're accepted. Not only are you accepted, you are respected for that, because that's a baller move. We love it. Go out there, try and get that $1 million. Terp, Isaiah Pacheco at the 602 goes at the 707. Pacheco feels kind of like a sinking ship. I think we agree on that. Also, the fourth running back, I actually really liked what Team 11 was doing up until that pick.
It's just
Auburn.
It's not for me. It's not for me. Very, very good drafter, first of all. I've drafted in many leagues against this guy.
Yeah.
He's a very, very, very good drafter. But I just don't like the draft. I love McCaffrey. I've been very outspoken with McCaffrey, Collins, like that. I'm not a big Kamara clicker. JSN, kind of in the middle on him. James Conner, I always feel like I don't draft. I'm more in the Trey Benson category this year, but I feel like I just keep trying to beat James Conner and he keeps beating me. But Isaiah Pacheco, it's just, I don't think I'll have any. Could it burn me? Is there a range of possibilities? It does. Am I getting too hyped up on the rookie? Am I getting, do I think Kareem Hunt's still going to be? I just don't love Pacheco. He runs extremely hard. He's very, 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 prone to injuries. And I don't know if they really believe in him that much. They just continue to bring guys in, and Mitchell's there, Smith's there, Hunt's there. Like they're all going to be like around, I think. And if Pacheco doesn't take that job right away, I just think he could be just an afterthought. And where he's being drafted, 6th, 7th round, there's not a single player in that's been drafted in the 6th round so far that I would not take over Pacheco.
Question from Scott Cobe for you. What is your thoughts on George Pickens? He goes at the 502 this draft.
George Pickens is probably my flag plant this year. He's definitely the guy that
That's almost around where he's been going at the 510, by the way. So that is way earlier than we're used to seeing him.
It kind of sucks because, I put this out a while ago. George Pickens was going to be, way underdrafted, and since then, all the positive press has been coming out on him, and it's driving me nuts because Pickens is going to keep moving up. He's going to keep getting up into my guess is he ends in the 4th round. He'll start getting above DJ Moore, Metcalf, guys like that. And that's painful to me because the Dallas stack this year is just so appetizing to want to just pounce on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Dak, with Lamb, obviously, with Pickens, with Jake Ferguson. You know, it's just too juicy to like pass up. And I mean, I haven't really. We always do our end of the season before the Vegas drafts, our flag plant. And it's probably going to be George Pickens for me, just because I always loved him in Pittsburgh, and he can figure it out up here. And Dallas feeds him the ball as much as they're going to, and it seems like they're going to, and the opportunities he's going to have there. If Dak stays healthy and that offensive line keeps Dak healthy, it's Pickens to the moon for me.
Yeah, Pickens to the moon is what Jake Vanetti said. Shout out Jake. Me and Jake drafted in the SiriusXM Experts draft for representing FFPC Best Ball.
Mistakes were made.
Our running back room is abysmal.
Ooh, baby.
Receiver room is lovely. 17 team league though, Turp. 17 teams.
Hey, I'm
and a defense and a kicker in best ball.
That's 17 teams is silly.
But it's just silly. We just decided to punt on running back and hoped Ashton Shinty carried us. But shout out Jake. We're gunning for that prize, and hopefully our team of misfit running back toys can
Justice Hill no matter what.
Justice Hill. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, shout out Sean Green, who said if he wins the million, we have to bring him on as a guest host. Absolutely. Lock that
100%.
If you win the million, you have a spot on here. Without a doubt. You will be a guest. Turp, just kind of give me your thought. Round 6 was kind of an interesting round. We talked about Pacheco. I think Jameson Williams is great value. Steve there at Team 6 saw Chris Olave with his literal balloon, like just ginormous Guardian cap. The photos that came out today, I was like, yeah, I got to have that. You know, there was just some discussion about Jalen Waddle and his value. People were loving the Caleb Johnson, and now it's time for you to discuss Evan Ingram. So just give me your broad thoughts on round 6, because you had kind of I wouldn't say a tight end run, but 4 tight ends go. You have that middle round run on receivers. I think there's some Jameson Williams value, and then, Caleb Johnson was getting some love in the chat.
It's such a fun round to draft, especially in like this main event right here. Like you're talking about Njoku, who I love, Ingram, who I love, Caleb Johnson, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, love, Olave, love, Judy, love, Hunter, love, Hawkinson, like Kelsey, Pacheco, no, and Jameson Williams, love. So there's a ton of players in this range that I'm very, very much on board with. So I very much like everything that's going on. Like everything's based off roster construction. We talk about it all the time. Whether you're trying to stack, not stack, whatever it is. Some of these teams are really teams that I just hope I don't draft main events against, because they would just frustrate the heck out of me. Like Team 5, Team 6, like I bust Team 6's. I'm not going to say his name because I know he's drafted a main event. He knows who he is. I've
said his name like 5 times.
I know, but I don't personally like saying people's. Yeah, it's Steve.
He's in the chat. He said, "I'm Team 6."
I still try to not.
I am
main
Team
event.
6.
I still try to not put people's names out there in the main event, because the main event, you're playing for a lot of money. You're putting a lot of money, but I don't like drafting with Steve. I hope Steve's not in any draft. Outside of his 7th round draft pick, he would just frustrate the heck out of me in drafts. And I just try to avoid people like that. Like, this is one good thing about doing these streams. You get familiar with people, and then when you see them in your room, you get out of your room quickly. Because it's just not something you want to frustrate yourself with, especially because most of these guys, like, they know who I know who they like, and they know who I like. And that kind of gets frustrating at times. Not that they're going to swipe or we're going to swipe each other, but like, if you're a pick or 2 away from each other, like you see a guy like Calvin Ridley come off the board a little earlier than he's supposed to, that would just tweak me. And he's not somebody I want to draft against. No fear in him as a drafter. It's just like we see a lot of players the same, and I don't love that.
The KT in the chat asking what's the running back room for that best ball team, and I will just say Ashton Genty, looking great. All right,
just say Ashton
Justice
Genty.
Hill, Miles Sanders, Sean Tucker, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, and Kyle Juszczyk. That's what we're rocking with.
That you drafted Kyle Juszczyk just shows you shouldn't even mention that name. That's a
Brian Thomas, DK Metcalf, Jameson Williams, Odunze, and Jawan Jennings is the receiver room though. So, we'll see. It's
really good receiver room. I forget who your tight end is.
Brenton Strange and Kyle Pitts. So,
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing in
Well,
a 17-team league. There's
not
nothing
tight end
wrong with
premium
that.
either. So we'll see. Terp, speaking of best ball, Dave Chiodo in the chat. Do you still like stacking in the main event?
I'm stacking everything. Doesn't matter.
There we go.
I would prefer to. I would like, for instance, if I'm drafting a main event, which I will be drafting a bunch in August, I will never draft Joe Burrow without T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. I just don't see any potential. Like, obviously, number one, everybody's different. I enter these to try to win $1 million. Obviously, you have to win your league first, and that's very, very hard to do. You have to qualify, you have to do all this stuff. I get that, but if you have Joe Burrow teams that move on, most of those Joe Burrow teams are going to have Chase and Higgins. And if Joe Burrow gets there and has that big game, you're probably going to have Jamar Chase, Higgins. Yeah, there could be some Chase Brown. I get that. Mike Gesicki. I get all that cool stuff. But if you need Burrow to get you there, he's going to get you there with Chase and Higgins. And if you're just naked Joe Burrow, you have to be so perfect somewhere else to offset that potential blow-up game like you saw last year when T. Higgins went nuts. Guys like that, it's just if you had Joe Burrow by himself, hey, that's cool, but you weren't getting there without T. Higgins.
Observations of life said Brian Robinson hate is crazy unless people think Debo's going to be the goal line back. And then Demetrios mentions how he has 12 touchdown potential. I'm not a huge Brian Robinson guy. Just it's not a knock on him. It's just more of I feel like I have the Commanders feel about him, and you have Daniels could possibly be siphoning touchdowns. Debo could, Eckler is still there, but for a third running back, there was discussion earlier about Kenneth Walker, who I'm a huge fan of, but based on Scott Barrett came on, did a big gorilla with us, probably 6 weeks ago. And he essentially laid out perfectly the case for Kenneth Walker from if healthy, which is obviously huge. If healthy, he's the perfect scheme fit. He was an Uber bell cow last year. He actually got super involved with something like 53 catches last year. Athletic freak. So Kenneth Walker, you love that. As a third running back, Puka, Marvin Harrison, Jamison Williams is a nice little receiving room. And I want to talk about Jordan Addison after this, but Brian Robinson is a third running back in the main event. How do you feel about that?
This is the number one running back room that has maybe frustrated me so far in drafts because honestly, I don't really know which way to go here. When it comes to Brian Robinson, he's okay. He definitely has, 10 touchdown potential, but it just feels like the coaching staff just doesn't love him. Austin Eckler, he's getting up there in age. Obviously, was banged up last year. They have the rookie that, has potential, but, I feel like he could just be like a popular name. This is a team that needs to win. They're old. You would think they're not old, but they have a very, very old roster.
Team, right?
I did see that on Twitter. I didn't know if that was a factual thing or not, but they're a very, very old team.
Let's throw it out there like it's fact. Just pretend like it is, because I think it is. Like they're so old.
They're a team that is in probably the best or one of the best divisions in football. I mean, with Dallas, with the Eagles, it's hard to paint a picture where a rookie's going to come in and take that job. So, is there a potential trade out there that they move for somebody if these guys aren't like what they think, or is this going to be what it is? So, I'm probably not taking any of them personally. I don't mind Brian Robinson, but I feel like it has to. His perfect storm to me is just not something that I'll be on board with. I mean, if he falls and I'm really, really desperate position, I might take a shot here and there, but I think I just take Jaden Daniels and just, obviously take McLaurin. I don't think I'll have much Debo. I think there's some receivers behind Debo that might be deep that aren't bad. Obviously, the tight ends with Zach Ertz, and if we are believers in Ben Sinnott coming back to earth. So I don't know. The Redskins running back room is just not one I'm really excited about. It's frustrated me a little bit because I just feel like I don't take any of them. So that's a big risk because it's a great offense. So as of now, I'm not taking any of them. If I do, I'm probably taking the cheapest one, which is a rookie. He's free and cut him. But it's really hard to take any of those guys in redraft. It's just really difficult.
So last 2 weeks, Chris Godwin has been going in the end of the sixth round. He goes at the 805. It's almost like if you've been listening to this show, not that me and Terp fashion ourselves as anything close to fantasy experts. We're more just guys who love drinking and watching some drafts.
Amen.
But this is finally yes, one thing me and Turk can do is common sense, and common sense told me 4 months ago that Chris Godwin should be going closer to the 8th, 9th, 10th rounds, not the 4th, 5th, 6th like he was. So finally, players are adjusting, starts on the pup list, working on the side. Honestly, still too early. But I'm intrigued to see. I believe Mojo posted about Egbuka rising. Intrigued to see where he goes. But I want to go back to Jordan Addison, another guy who may get suspended, going obviously even later. But Jordan Addison, I believe our friend of the show, Theo Greminger, was posting some Jordan Addison propaganda earlier this month. If he's missing 3 games, but he's your 4th receiver, feels like one in the 8th round, you can survive that. And Jordan Addison could be a damn good player. He was a damn good player when healthy last year. Feels like a guy who's going to come on late and win people some money in weeks 15 through 17.
Love Jordan Addison. Love the player. Big fan of that offense this year. I think everybody is, which is a little bit scary because we said this morning on the show with Theo. Balky was on with me. And I asked the question at the tail end of the show, is there more an important person than J.J. McCarthy to fantasy football this year? Obviously, there's other people, but with the wild unknown of J.J. McCarthy, never threw in college, didn't play last year, you see nothing from him, but you're banking on top 5 pick Justin Jefferson, 4th, 6th round pick T.J. Hawkinson, the running backs, Jordan Addison. There's just a lot of guys that are attached to a guy that we don't even know if he can throw the football. We're pretty sure he can, but we don't know that. So my question with Addison is, my only fear with him is, I'm not worried about the suspension. That's not really, I think he's more of a best ball target than he is a redraft target, just because he's going to have those spike weeks and he's also going to have those 2 for 20 weeks. And in a redraft league, it's a little bit more difficult to click that button because you're playing a little Russian roulette because Jefferson's getting his. And Hawkinson's going to be a pretty important part of that offense. And obviously the running backs with Mason and Jones. And, Addison's a talented player and he's gonna have his weeks, but I don't know. In redraft, it's 8th round, I'm fine. But, if he creeps up anymore, I'm probably going to be out.
Observation I said, man, people hate Golden. I was actually about to say before I even saw that I think Matthew Golden has a chance to be one of the highest risers throughout training camp.
Yes, I agree. I mean, that wide receiver room. Did you see the news on Christian Watson today?
I saw you posted a NSFW GIF.
Oh baby, we could be back with Christian Watson. I'm just saying, maybe not in the draft, but a little fab money down the road. Get Christian Watson back in the blood flow. I'm all about that. You know my love for Christian Watson, but back to Golden.
Yeah, it's borderline on
it is. It's a little creepy. I know it's creepy. It's a little creepy, but
obsessive.
The thing about Golden is you're gonna see my thing always is with the preseason is I fell into this trap. Everybody falls into the trap, no matter what they say it is. Rookies like that, they're gonna figure out a way in the preseason to hype them up, to get them all right, Matthew Golden's gonna be the star. He's gonna be and then week 1 you're gonna see Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, and Jaden Reed out there. And Golden's gonna mix in, but this is another team that they run the football and they want to run the football. They don't want to throw that much. I think they have the ability to, but they really haven't. Done it. I mean, you saw it last year. They have pretty solid receivers last year. Obviously, with Watson getting hurt, Jaden Reed was a popular pick. I mean, obviously, you saw how he started the season and then just totally flopped from there. And obviously, I know Love got hurt and all that yip, but I think Golden. I agree with you. He's going to be a riser, and
I'm talking 5-6 turn, depending on how training camp goes.
I 100% agree with you.
Ricky Pearsall's another one. Juwan Jennings, they said he hasn't requested a trade, but who knows what his deal is. Brandon Ayuk is months away. Obviously, George Kittle's there, and CMC, kind of an unknown with his health. Ricky Pearsall's one of the only guys standing in that room. If he's, can stay healthy through training camp, but, that's another guy who's probably going to move up to the 5th, 6th round range as people try and get into that Niners offense. And real quick, Mo Jenkins in the chat talking about Neighbors' toe and will he eventually need toe surgery? Mo, we did talk about that at the start of the show when Terp said classic Giants move.
If you just showed up on time more, I mean, you would have seen it at the beginning. You would have seen that, you're too busy preying on your Dallas Cowboys actually maybe winning a football game.
Yeah, Sean Green mentioned Jennings is in camp and practicing, so that clarifies that for me. But
I
still,
think
it does
another
feel as
name,
though
we
Pearsall
talk
is the
about
guy
names who could be
rise.
risers. Pearsall's
Yeah.
a good one. Another name is Roma Dunze. Not
Oh
being
yeah,
talked
he
about at
he
all.
fell a bit this draft by a couple, by half a round.
Not being talked about at all. You know, a guy that, you know, could move up even more because there's so much uncertainty in that Bears offense right now. It's totally you don't know anything. You could say you do, but you know, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, you know, obviously Roma Dunze, the tight ends with Loveland and Cole Kmet. Nothing is known right now. So with nothing being known, these guys are going to stay in a stale spot. So if you're a Dunze fan, which I was initially not last year, I was very outspoken on Dunze. I never liked the situation, and it was totally correct on that one. This year, he's cheaper, and I mean, I don't know if he's a good NFL receiver. He could just be a massive flop, but where he's being drafted, if you're a Ben Johnson believer, you got to mix in some, because if he's that slot guy that we think that we saw with, you know, St. Brown, if he turns into that guy, man, he could be looking up wheels up in the league winner where he's being drafted. There's plenty of other guys here that Emeka Abugo. I always butcher his last name, but I'm not a pronunciation guy, and I'm never going to pretend. But if Chris Godwin opens the season on the pup list, he's going to be a 7th, 8th round pick, and he's probably I loved him coming out. He's my favorite receiver coming in the draft, but he's going to start rising up. I mean, Stephon Diggs is another guy that'll start rising up.
He's already rising up.
He's
Stephon Diggs
100% correct. Travis Hunter is another one that could move up if he starts getting some early.
It's so nice that we're
play.
actually in training camp now, because we have videos. We're watching football, and you and me can discuss, you know, one highlight and how it's going to push a guy up 2 rounds. It happens every year. It's like literally one highlight. That's the best. I do want to shout out KT mentioning how Cooper Kupp's a value, and you know they paid him $50 million a year, and he looked good for the first couple of weeks of the season. But that's the whole point, KT. I love Cooper Kupp, always have, but he's not staying healthy. That's just kind of a simple fact. You got to expect absences, and the more and more lower leg trauma he suffers, it just slows him down.
And it's not even just that. It's like Seattle's they're not throwing the football.
It's
and
not
if they're
LA.
throwing the football, it's going to be JSN, and it's going to be the tight end room. And I just don't see
what the hell?
where,
what the hell with Noah Fant? What was that? I was all excited.
I would love Noah Fant to just end up in Miami and be relevant, because I've always been a Noah Fant guy. I've always said Noah Fant and Brevin Jordan.
What a tough life we live, Terp. Or we have to say we're Noah Fant. We have to admit on air to thousands of people who watch this. Literally, like we 1,000 people saying we're Brevin Jordan and Noah Fant guys.
I got no problem saying that. I used to be a Jalen Reagor stan. It doesn't always work out. I mean, it just doesn't work out.
Ooh, Remy LeBeau put in some DeAndre Swift buzz on there. Just DeAndre Swift is the ultimate
wild card.
Should be so much better than he is, because he's so.
Remember drafts we used to do? He was a 1st round draft pick. The talent, you see,
our first year drafting, our first year doing drags, not drafting. Our first year doing draft coverage, he was a back in the first round guy.
Yeah, him and Miles Sanders. I think I had both of them on the same team.
And then he went to Philly.
Yeah, and he showed flashes there, but that's just that team wasn't ready. And then, you know, they don't have anybody there. He's the guy. Roshan Johnson, there's a rookie, So I agree with Remy. It's just such a hard click for me, because, I mean, I don't know. He just has never showed me. I know it was that year with Ben Johnson, but it's not for me. I mean, I'll have some just as protection, but I don't think I'll be, you know, wildly overweight on DeAndre Swift at all. But like I said, Remy's an absolute beast, and he does these, you know, he's very, very, very successful on these. So he knows what he's doing. So if I'm going to take anybody's value, it's going to be him. Are you back? You froze up there for a second. I don't know if you're back yet.
Maybe.
You're back. You're back.
I'm
yeah,
still freezing up, I think.
No, I can hear you. You're
I don't know
good.
if I'm back yet either. Maybe. We'll see. All right.
I would cry if I had to
Wi-Fi
talk for
is,
10 rounds by myself.
a little bit stuck.
You there?
Yeah, you might as well just.
If I could talk for
just
10
leave it
rounds by
then.
myself,
Am
I
I
might
here?
be in cry. You're here. I can see it. You're good. You're talking good right now.
Yeah,
It's okay.
there we go. All right.
You gotta tell Alex and Dave to help you out with the
What
Wi-Fi.
can we do? It's a Wednesday at 9:50.
That's what I'm saying. Anything's possible on these shows. We don't.
I might need
the
a new
experts and
computer.
everything. Yeah, send the bill to Alex and Dave. They'll take care of it.
All right. Let's get back to the chat because I literally just had like 8 messages, new messages, like
There's a ton.
popping
There's a ton on there.
late.
You might want to reboot your
Oh
computer.
boy.
$300 in regular rookie autographs. I have a couple of those too. I bought in. I was there preseason when he had that big catch. You see me in the background. I was all aboard the Jalen Reagor bandwagon. I thought he was going to be the next Tyreek Hill, and he was terrible, like in all aspects, and it just never ever worked out. And that was pretty painful because I really, really believed that, when they drafted him, he was going to be the next great Eagles receiver, and he was just awful. I still see you there. You're moving. Can you hear me? No, I don't think you can hear
We're
me.
fighting, Turk. We're fighting.
I mean,
we are fighting the Wi-Fi battle right now.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Well, Acuna Jr., I saw what you said earlier about starting 0-1. I mean, Cowboys fans chirping. I don't know how you chirp after last season. I mean, it just makes no sense. So please, with the chirping. I know that's all you guys have anymore, chirping. But yes, I'll be in Vegas. I land on Wednesday. I will be out of there a little earlier this year on Friday, but I will be there. I draft Friday morning, the main event. I will be at the party with my Eagles jersey on. I will not be missed. You will really easy see me. A friend of mine's coming out this year. We'll be flapping when the Eagles whip the Cowboys, so no worries whatsoever. Also, I will not be at the Expo. I've never been to the Expo. I don't think I'll ever go to the Expo. Nothing against the Expo, but it's just not for me.
Jeez. Am I back? I might just
You're
be
back,
out
man.
for the rest
You
of
sound great.
there. Well, thank you. I mean, we do have a face for radio, but maybe we have a voice for radio as well. Turk KT saying, is there anyone you're refused to draft this year? Is there anyone truly
Chris Godwin, Isaiah Pacheco?
But there's always, you and me always say, there's always the guys who are at the right value. You
those two guys I'm pretty
would,
much out on.
but
I mean, I don't think they'll ever get to
the most.
I don't ever think they'll ever get to the value where I'll take them. If we're looking for like a high end guy that I'll probably just not take much of. Let's see. I don't really have a bold take. I probably won't take much James Conner. I probably won't take much Zay Flowers. And I'll give you one more. I probably won't take much Josh Downs. And that's another one. Sean Green's perfect. I will have 0% Brandon Ayuk. If he beats me, he beats me. He wasn't good last year before he got hurt, and he's coming off a major injury. What makes me think that he's just going to come back and win fantasy football at the end of the season? Like we don't know when he's ready. The coach, like, what's best case scenario? He's there for the last 4 weeks of the season, 5 weeks of the season where he's 100%. Like, even if he misses the first bunch of, let's just say he misses the first like 6 or 7 weeks, whatever, 8 weeks, and then comes back, he's not going to be ready right away. So then, you're going to be waiting. You're going to be pretty much holding a roster spot in a league that roster spots are going to be at the end of the season so valuable with bye weeks and all this stuff. Like, do you really want, Brandon Ayuk on your roster when bye weeks are coming and you got to put somebody else in there and not cut him? Or do you risk, taking him where he's being drafted, holding him for the season, and then having to cut him, and then he comes and bites you? So to me, it's just like, I'm out on Brandon Ayuk. He just, if Sean Green is telling me that he's a 49ers fan, that pretty much solves it for me. He's not a guy that I'll be drafting much.
All right, Turk. You can't say none of them, okay? You have to choose between Quinshawn Junkins at the 10:08, Dylan Sampson at the 11:01, or Jerome Ford at the 11:02. Let's just say essentially pretty much all the same ADP now.
I still take Judkins. Right now, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going on. It doesn't sound good, but if I'm not taking Judkins, I'm taking Dylan Sampson. To me, the Jerome Ford stuff, like is there a range of possibilities where Jerome Ford is a serviceable guy, but like, are you ever excited about clicking Jerome Ford in your starting lineup? Yeah, I get it, bye weeks and all that cool stuff.
He had his chance last year, it felt like.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he's okay. Judkins has not signed yet, Sean.
No, he hasn't.
And he probably won't sign until they figure out what's going on with the legal
clarity.
stuff. So this is all going to depend on like what happens legally. Like if we just try to stay out of that part. I mean, I'm not going to try to guess to see what happens in the Judkins situation. Like,
yes, he's out of jail.
He is out of jail. Like,
will he be going back to jail? Unknown. Can't tell you that. Maybe.
Unknown. Probably not. But to me, it's still Judkins. But I'm probably staying away from all of them. And, you know, at this rate right now, I want Judkins. If he's getting 4 games, if he's going to be out of the league, I want to know that stuff up front before I'm even getting any. And because the Browns running game, let's call it, but nobody's going to get excited about it. Whether you take any of those guys. Like, I like Judkins. I was taking Judkins a bunch early. This kind of screwed everything up. And messes things up a little bit, but you know, I'll probably that backfield's a wait and see for me. You know, I don't think there's ever going to be a point where, okay, let's just say Judkins is out for the season, he gets suspended or whatever. Where's Dylan Sampson going to move up to? Maybe gets up to the 10th. Maybe gets. It
was
up to
a lot
the 9th.
Cooler when I was recommending people draft Dylan Sampson before he started.
When he was free. Yeah. And if that happens, you're still at a range where it's not going to hurt you if it doesn't work out.
Terp, I got to ask Team 7. Triple tight end. Where are we at on that? just nothing else I got to ask you. Where we at?
If this is best ball, I'm all aboard. Great, but it's not best ball. So each week, like Dalton Kincaid, Johnny Smith, likely.
Say the line, Terp. Say the line. You got to click the button. You got to click the button.
It's my favorite line. It's going to follow me everywhere I go. But then, like, you're hoping they get to your flex, and that's what people, when they take all these tight ends, they think. But you have Juwan Jennings, you have Jerry Jeudy, you have Cortland Sutton, you have the guy above Josh Allen, whoever that is, I can't see. And then I'm not 100% sure who the first round pick is, but I'm pretty sure it's a receiver. Okay, no, it's 2 running backs. So Garrett Wilson. So you have 4 receivers. Are you clicking Johnny Smith or Isaiah Likely over any of those 4 receivers? You're not. So we haven't talked about this guy a lot, but I want to say something real quick. The Isaiah Likely, where he's being drafted, is very, very, very fascinating right now because, true or false, if Mark Andrews somehow got moved, where does Isaiah Likely move to?
Probably in that, you know, I would say probably right around 5th, 6th round. That from Laporta to Njoku, that range.
100%. 5th round, 6th round, Isaiah Likely. Good. So I feel like if you're drafting these main events now, or you're drafting these gorillas now, or even you're drafting the best balls now, is it likely to happen? Probably not. But if you can figure out a way to get some Isaiah Likely exposure now, we talk about pockets. And let's just say that Mark Andrews gets traded or somebody gives him an offer like Miami. You know, obviously Darren Waller, it looks like that's going to be a total flop early on.
Or he just is washed. Or if he's just washed.
He's just washed and Isaiah Likely's more. I mean, and hey, at the end of the day, if Isaiah Likely is your 11th round draft pick and Mark Andrews is still on the team, you're not hurting yourself. There's no pain in that because Isaiah Likely would probably wipe out all fabs if he was on free agency. Because if something happened to Mark Andrews. So he's a guy that, like, you have no downside with keeping him on your roster. Obviously, if early on, like right now on July 23rd, if Mark Andrews gets traded, you're sitting on a gold mine with Isaiah Likely. And if he doesn't get traded, he's still on the team. Is he really hurting you as an 11th round? He's still going to be he's still going to play a ton. And God forbid some injury happens to Mark Andrews, or Likely just takes that job and runs with it. I mean, you could be looking at a steal in drafts.
KT is a Ravens and Capitals fan. It just sounds like every single person who went to my high school. Terp, question for you in the chat, which was, where was it? The question was, why take Kyler round 11 right after taking Dak round 10? I believe, if I'm reading this right, it looks like Demetrios is drafting in this. No, maybe not.
I don't think he is.
Because he was thinking I was going to get my Harrison stack, so maybe he in the 12. So anyway, so what team 11, Dak and Kyler back to back, is that just now you're done with your QB room? What's the thinking behind that? Demetrius is team 12, so he was hoping to get Marvin.
I don't. It's not for me. I mean, again, we're clicking the button every week, and it's really, really hard. If I'm taking Dak, I'm still going to take a really good backup, but I feel like him and Kyler they're very, very similar to where you're going to be playing a lot of Russian roulette every week. Who are you clicking? Are you playing, Dak Prescott against the Giants, or are you playing Kyler Murray against the 49ers? Like, it might sound obvious, but like it usually never works out that way. So in a best ball, I'm excited. In a redraft league, like I don't like playing Russian roulette at quarterback. If I'm gonna bank like in a main event, I'm banking on like if I'm taking Dak. All right, Dak's my guy. And then I'll take like a Trevor Lawrence or,
I'll say this. Looking at this board, if you're going 2 quarterbacks, you went Dak and Kyler, but team 3 did Bo Nix and Drake May, which is infinitely better. And that happened after both of them.
100%. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but like same situation. Yeah, I know like you're trying to draft depth in the main event, especially early on. I think right now it's not as dumb as it would be in like September. In September, you're going to know a lot more. September, I feel like you have to take more shots. Now it's like, all right, let's just say one of those guys get banged up. You're protecting yourself. That I understand with, because there's obviously training camp and injuries and all that stuff. And we hope none of these guys ever get hurt, but every year somebody does. So you look at each situation and you're just like, if this is a September Paris draft, I'm taking Dak Prescott, and I'm probably going to, mix in a McCarthy, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, guys like, deep guys that like, yeah, they could still do good, but I'm banking everything on Dak.
Turk, do you think Knicks outscores Dak this year?
No.
You realize like Dak is coming off a bad hamstring injury and was not very good last year.
Mm-hmm. I think Dak has a great range of outcomes to be a top 5 quarterback this year.
I don't hate Shoddy, by the way. The more I read about him, I really actually don't.
It really seems like they're going to throw the ball a ton. And if they have a brain in that organization, they should be figuring out a way to make sure protection is the best. Whatever running back can block, he's the guy that plays. Forget anything else. Whether it's Javonte Williams, whether it's Miles Sanders, whether it's probably not Jaden Blue, But if you're running back, if you can block and you can keep Dak upright, they have so much talent. You could argue that the Lamb and Pickens are the best 2, combo receivers out there. So, and Acuna said it perfectly. Dak is good every other year.
It's like the early 2010s Giants.
I know that's a fluky stat, and I get all that stuff, but Dak is definitely a guy that, as much as it pains me, is ridiculous value in drafts right now. To me, he could easily finish as a top 5 quarterback this year. It's definitely in the range of outcomes.
Terp, after 3 straight nights of draft coverage, are you excited to break down the Brashard Smith, Will Shipleys, and Jarquez Hunters of the world?
Love it. Can't.
Oh man, Terp, any I can try and the issue is we made our stickers here on the draft board a little bigger. So if I go too small, but is there any team? Maybe this is a good time to reassess.
You're gonna blind me. I need a little bit bigger than that, but I'm old.
Let's go back to the team.
I like that. So
just what teams are you liking now? As I think what you can see the top 10.
Team round. 1, don't mind it. Receivers are a question. Besides that, good. Team 2, wow. Team 2 is really good. Team 2 is really good. I really like Team 2. Don't like the Cooper Kupp pick, but besides Cooper Kupp pick, wheels up on Team 2. Really like what they did. He's another guy I draft against a ton, and I hope I don't see in drafts. Team 3, Gibbs, McConkey, Jacobs. Yeah. Bo Nix is your starter. Nothing wrong there. No tight end yet, which is very worrying. I don't know if he took one later, but that's definitely a worry.
I want to say he took Loveland. No.
Team 4, no
he
quarterback.
Took Loveland,
no tight
he
end.
took Loveland and Henry, by the way. Team 3, which is not bad.
Team 4, Kyle Pitts is your number 1 tight end. I love Remy. He's a really, really good drafter, but taking Kyle Pitts as your number 1 tight end, Jared Goff is your number 1 quarterback. The rest of the team is stacked. Really, really good roster. But that's just a little too risky for me. with those two one-off positions. Team 5, good friend of the show, one of the best fantasy players in the world. Nothing really is negative to say about him.
Junkins could be a big swing for him if that works out.
Tootin, Ricky Pearsall is a worry for me, but getting Tet in the 5th round is big. Devontae Adams, I know he's a big fan of. I've talked about Team 6. I don't want to draft against him ever. His team is just structured very well. I don't know who he took a quarterback, but who do you take a quarterback? Has he taken a quarterback yet?
Team 6 has taken Justin Fields.
Oh, he's not a guy that I really want to draft against ever. All his players are like guys that I target. So, and I hope he's never in any draft that I do. Team 7, no downside on the team. I like what they did outside of the tight end room. That's just a little too risky for me. I think you're playing a little crazy. The Brock Bowers team, it's not for me. There's mostly the players on there I don't really love. Godwin, Devonta Smith, I'm a little lower on than most. 2 Raiders, first 2 picks I know they're the best options out there, but just probably not for me. And then we got Team 8, Team 9. Team 9, I like the roster. There's some questions, but overall, has a ton of potential. Love the Charbonnet, Benson tap, back to back. Both those guys have.
By the way, and Ray Davis, round 11.
And Ray Davis, that's a great backup running back room. Obviously with Travion Henderson and James Cook, no negative things to say there. That's a really good draft.
So he has James Cook and Ray Davis,
that's a really good drafted team. Team 10 is not my favorite. A lot of old guys, a lot of the Mike Evans, the Mixons, the Kelseys. I'm not saying they're bad players. Derrick Henry, not a lot of guys I target, so I'm probably out there. Team 11.
I think they kind of lost the plot around round 6.
Yeah, team 11. I love the first 2 guys, but after that, I'm probably not drafting any of those guys before Dak.
I like Team 12.
Team 12 is a very, 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 very good team that's drafted. A-Chain,
Luther Burden, by the way, Lou Bateman,
Luther Burden, Jaden Blue. No downside there. Team 12 is got sniped in the quarterback room. I would say 12, 5, 6.
You can do way worse than Purdy.
Team 2, there's a lot of good teams in here. There's a lot of good teams in here that have done it really well. They've definitely help themselves, against some of these other guys who have rosters that I don't love through 13 rounds. Because like I said, these quarterback room, if you really, really believe a guy's going to be a top 5 quarterback, let's just say you're a Drake May fan, and you think this is the year where he takes off, and he's a top 5 quarterback. Why not just take him as your starter in a bunch of these leagues? Because if you're right, the leverage you're going to get against the field is going to be ridiculous. Same thing with Brock Purdy. Same thing with Caleb Williams. The same thing with Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields. Where they're being drafted is ridiculous value when it comes to a one-off position. If they pan out to be a QB1, your leverage is going to be so crazy that it's going to really put you in an advantage in these leagues because you're going to be stacked elsewhere. You're going to have depth elsewhere. You're going to have all these guys that What are you laughing at?
Just Abib just ripping green right now. Just absolutely hammering running backs.
That's Dave Hubbard is one of the best fantasy players that I've ever played against. One time in Vegas, he said, in these middle rounds, you should be doing exactly what Abib's doing. Why are you taking the receivers? Why are you taking Hollywood in redraft? Why are you taking Hollywood Brown, Cedric Tillman, Christian Kirk, Quentin Johnson, Adam Thielen? You should be just ripping these running backs, every single one of them, because, hey, guess what? If they don't work out, you just cut them. How many of these receivers are actually going to hit your roster every week? That's why the structure is so important in building a fantasy. Some of these guys who have done it over the years and make a ton of money doing it, mass entry guys or not, it doesn't matter. They just know how to structure teams. And yeah, every structure is different. You can win any way you want it. But look at all these receivers he's drafting. Outside of Tank Bigsby, who I think is a stone cold stiff, Smith, Harris, what if Harris is fine in the 12th round? Ramondre Stevenson, Judkins, Tootin, I don't know. I mean, that's just a really, 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 because running backs on the waiver wire, you don't see them that. Like, they used to be really popular. You could find one or two guys that were league winners, but they just don't. They don't pop up anymore. And if they do, they're usually guys who are just praying that maybe hit a roster or a 1 week type of situation where you get a guy like an Isaac Garendo last year, who obviously he wasn't on waivers after Chris McCaffrey got hurt. I get that, but somebody might have just gave up on him and cut him, and then you're spending your whole fab on him, and he doesn't pan out. Take all these backup running backs you can: Marshawn Lloyd's, the Will Shipleys, the Nick Chubbs, the Jarquez Hunters, the Roshan Johnsons, the DJ Giddens, the Krosky Merritts. All those guys. They all make sense.
I'm intrigued. I'm going to be quiet and wait for him to draft another running back here. He took Kittle as his tight end.
I know he's a big Kittle guy.
Does he have a quarterback yet? I'm asking it.
He has Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I was asking as though I couldn't just scroll up and look.
I mean, it's your first. You haven't been back here in a while, man. You're a little rusty.
We were rusty. Yeah, we were on the IR.
So. I'm staring at a computer screen like in a trance right now. I've been staring at it for like 4 days in a row.
I love the colors of the draft board. We're in this part of the draft, but just staring at a draft board, man, there's just nothing like it,
100%. Like, and I say this all the time. Like, for all people that are watching and drafting on this is cool. Like, commentating on this is cool. But if you ever get a chance to go to Vegas, it is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, what if you're a fan? We see over the years all these guys that come out. Like, when I was 18 years old, my dad brought me out before I could even draft, and I've been there ever since. I've missed. I don't know if I've ever missed a year, but it is such a cool experience. You meet a ton of good people. You run into people that you draft against that know you, that might you might have swiped them in a draft, or that you might have some common team involved. It's just such a cool thing to draft live. I mean, it's we see it every year. It's guys that run into both of us that you're like, oh yeah, I remember you, and you form a relationship with them. Some of my really, really good friends are guys I've met early on in Vegas, and I'm still very, very close with. I mean, there's guys that I wouldn't be here without them. So if you ever get a chance to come out, bring your wife, bring your son, bring your whoever. It's, same thing at Cunha. I've been there since Wyckoff day one, rest in peace, Wyckoff. But if you ever get a chance to come out to Vegas, come out, hang out, go to a draft party, draft a live team out there. It's just a cool experience. It's something that, being 41 now, it's something that's a top, 5, outside of the serious stuff and, having kids and all that cool stuff, the top 5 experience, in my opinion. It's just, if you love fantasy football, it's just so cool.
And Katie said it best too, is beyond just the experience, the drafts themselves are way different. It's a whole different animal, having got 100%. Literal people to your left and right who are drafting, and the boards are all completely different because everyone. I mean, the boards are obviously all different online too, but it's just completely different. And then Turp and me always mention it. There's also, if you're drafting Friday and Saturday, you also have whole different boards. Rapidly changing.
You have second round Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
And you have second round Jaden Reed.
Or you have ones that work out like Saquon at the 101.
Saquon, that's just how it works out. And things like that are why those drafts are fun. I mean, it's just really, really cool to just go out there, and whether you're drafting on Thursday before the game or you're just, hey, even if you're not drafted and you're just coming out, coming to Vegas is always a good time. Coming to the party, being part of that atmosphere. Watching the Eagles whip some cowboy butt, and then, walking around, seeing all the drafts, whether it's bare knuckle, some of these $10,000 leagues, like seeing these guys who they draft and, how that's all run. It's just a really cool experience.
No, it's always electric. Obviously this year, first week of September after Labor Day, and I'm pretty sure the email has been out. So hopefully I guess it's been out, but obviously it's, FFPC hotel room block is in Paris, Las Vegas. But this year we actually got kind of a late breaking, much better deal. And the drafts themselves will be held like a 3-minute indoor walk away to the connected Horseshoe Convention Center. So the drafts will be there. So it's, a couple minutes away from Paris, all indoor. They're the same space, but drafts are going to be held in the Horseshoe. And it's going to be freaking great time. And for anyone who is there, as we always say, just come talk to me in Terp. You're looking for the Eagles fan and the lanky tall motherfucker.
I'll have my Eagles jersey on. I'll have my high noons in my hand. I'll be very, very hard to miss.
Terp KT, we're in round 15 of a main event, and there's around 16 now. There's nothing me and Terp love talking more in the late rounds of the show than hypothetical scenarios of those, Thursday and now Friday games of where they're in. So Terp, George Pickens, 8 for 102 touchdowns on Thursday. What round?
1-2 turn.
No. 2-3 turn.
No shot. No,
8 for 102 is not like
1-2 turn.
Dramatic.
You're talking about 8 for so you're talking about 30 points. 1-2 turn.
I don't.
He's going to the 5th round now. It's not like that. Like we're not talking about like Jake Ferguson.
But then what if CD after the Cowboys win, I'll let you wear the big hat, Terp. The boy's big hat. Yes. Terp, can we make a deal on stream with Acuna Junior 13? No,
I don't have anything to prove. Well, you know what? If he wants me to put a Cowboys hat on, I'm fine. Whatever, I'll do it. But I don't have anything to prove anymore. I'm a Super Bowl champion. The Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since I was in diapers. So I mean, it's really just the Cowboys can then put all these bets out there, just like our boy Mo Jenkins put out last year. He was real confident that Dak Prescott was going to lead him, and he's down some money and he's got to put an Eagles jersey on. It's painful, but yes, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles week 1, I'll put a hat on if you want. Whatever you want. I'm not in any way worried.
Mo is back. Do I just have Mo throw the $50 he owes me on a number, or throw 25 on a couple numbers?
Throw 25 on 2 numbers. That's a great idea. Do a shot with him when you're doing it. That's a win all around. If the numbers hit, and you're making it rain your first day in Vegas. That's a great idea.
Brain is turning in round 16 here.
Back to the draft. Or at the very worst, put a $50 same game parlay in on the Eagles game and turn that into $1,000. That's a win everywhere. That's what I'm saying. I'm always thinking here.
This is Sean saying the 49ers last one when he was a junior in high school. Sean, at least you've seen your team make the Super Bowl, though. You've seen multiple appearances, but Mo is guaranteeing a boys will win on opening night.
He guarantees a lot of things. None of them actually come true, though.
Terp, I do want to get back to the draft real quick. There was a question. Brandon Aubrey, speaking of the Cowboys, went in round 13. Brandon Aubrey is a weapon. Don't get me wrong. So, essentially, I'm going to ask you, do you judge a team for reaching on a kicker, or with a guy like Brandon Aubrey, can you at least see the vision and can understand the rationale behind that pick?
I wouldn't do it, but I see the vision on why you do it. I mean, The guy is a complete weapon, and if you are a believer in that offense like I am, I could be talking to Brandon Aubrey probably in the 15th round. If he's in the 15th round with some of these guys that are being drafted, maybe. I think it makes sense. Other than that, I'll be a 20th round kicker for me, like it always is. Mm-hmm. But I could be talked into that. But 13th round, if you just look at some of these guys he's being drafted around, the Batemans, the Shipleys, the Brashard Smiths, some of those quarterbacks, obviously with Caleb Williams, I can't make that move. And you just hope when Brandon Aubrey, you played the team with Brandon Aubrey, he doesn't kick 5 50-yard field goals. That just, destroy you. But I see the path. I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it's absurd. But if you're this team looking at it, you're like, all right,
that team needs all the help he can get. So Brandon Aubrey really needs help.
3 rounds have gone by without a kicker. You're like, oh, maybe I could have waited a couple rounds at least. So
on Sean Green's point,
okay.
I don't see any value in taking defenses early. I stream. It's been successful. I mean, if you're going to pick a defense and you really, but there's just so many guys out there that could really be league winners. Why are you taking a defense? Eagles defense, Pittsburgh defense, Denver defense. Yeah, they're all good defenses, but I'll take upside shots on Keaton Mitchell, Kendre Miller, Blake Corum, guys like that over defenses. So I don't agree with that statement.
Speaking of Keaton Mitchell, knock on wood, doesn't happen. Something happens to Derrick Henry. Who benefits the most in that Raven? Not who benefits the most, because there would be other people, but between Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, or is it a running back, not even on the roster in the scenario of a Derrick Henry absence? Where are you going with that? Do you think Keaton Mitchell's the better handcuff to have? Is it Justice Hill? Because maybe Hill could have a role even if Henry's healthy. Where are you at on those other Ravens backs behind Henry?
It's probably never going to be Justice Hill for me. I mean, I don't see a path where even if Derrick Henry gets hurt, he's going to be the guy that's going to be the guy that you want to start. Maybe a week or two here. I mean, you look at pockets where you try to like survive. Justice Hill can get you there. Keaton Mitchell's definitely the guy, but he's also a question too. Like, this is a team that needs to win Super Bowl now, right now. Like, there's no pause button on anything when it comes to the Ravens. They are stacking everything in this year. You know, when it comes to adding, DeAndre Hopkins, paying Rashad Bateman, 2 tight ends, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, the defense which is loaded. I mean, the window for the Ravens is now. And if something happens to Derrick Henry, I just think they're going to just do whatever they can to get somebody in town. I don't think it's going to be Keaton Mitchell or Justice Hill. I think there's going to be somebody that's added that mucks it up a little bit. But if nobody is traded, it's Keaton Mitchell for me. I think he's being drafted is another guy he's got to take shots on.
Bill Hollywood asking, what do we think of James Cook? Bill, I as much as I'd love to discuss James Cook again, if you want to roll it back a little bit, we had a real good, I would say, real negative for James Cook, but a good conversation about James Cook and the state of that Bills backfield. Terp, looking kind of as we're kind of getting in these later rounds, I do always like talk about the tight ends. We always talk about these late tight end values that are going to be had. One always seems to break into that top 5-6. Elijah Arroyo with the Noah Fant. We heard Andrew Cooper talk about him months ago, covering a big gorilla draft. How he's saying you want to have a Clint Kubiak tight end, whether it be Arroyo or Noah Fant. It seems like it's going to be Arroyo. How high do you see Arroyo going? He is now in round 15. Do you think that keeps rising, or is this kind of going to be his value and it plateaus?
I think he can move a little bit. I mean, I'm in the camp that there's five tight ends that are all drafted in the same range that I would like to leave these drafts with at least one of them. Number 1 is Mason Taylor. Number 2 is, I'm not in any order, just in general. Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, Theo Johnson, Oronde Gadsden, and Terrence Ferguson. All those 5 guys, where they're being drafted, are all pretty much free. I mean, they're all at different ranges. They all have potential upside. Also, if you want to add in somebody a little later, it's Ben Sinnott. If you're banking against the Zach Ertz age cliff falling off and then, injuries and all that stuff that comes with it. Young tight ends, explosive guys. They all have questions. There's no, 4 of those guys are probably going to be irrelevant. But if you can catch lightning in the bottle with 1 or 2 of them, it could be a league-winning type of, atmosphere when it comes down to the end, that you could be really, really, really sitting on a guy that's a gold mine, whether it's Ferguson, whether it's Gadsden, whether it's Johnson, Arroyo, or Mason Taylor. They all have paths to where they can be a top 2, receiving capability on their team. Look at it. Arroyo, they have JSN. You're not really worried about Cup. Mason Taylor, you got Garrett Wilson. And who else? Theo Johnson, you got Malik Neighbors. Yeah, I know Slayton and Robinson. They're no slouches. Or Gadsden, you have Vlad McConkey. You have a rookie and Trey Harris is a question. And then you have Terrence Ferguson. A little bit more of a cloudy situation, but if you believe in the coach speak, they love that guy. And if they're in love with him as much as they say he is, he could be maybe not right away, but in money time, Ferguson could be a guy you're spending all your fab on. Cade Otton's never going to be one of those guys. And I love Cade Otton, but there's just too many dudes there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka, Jalen McMillan. I don't see how Cade Otton gets there in a redraft league. Maybe a best ball league, but not a best ball league. And also another name, Harold Fannin, I think I'm an Njoku stan, so I don't see a path where Fannin sees the field to where unless Njoku gets hurt. And if Njoku gets hurt, Fannon's going to be, all over the place.
Terp, round 17. I'm going to a message from our sponsor.
This is the main event
We are
draft
drafting
season.
a main event team on FFPC, $2,000 entry team. Grand prize of $1 million.
I'm looking for that $1 million top prize.
Main event season is in full swing.
We have a sponsor. I didn't know.
You like that? Not only did I rip a sponsor in round 18, we're sponsoring our own show because that's how we do it at FFPC.
Love it, man. Love it. That's
I just had to do it. I had to rip it because it's one, it's a great ad because I made it, and two, it's like, let's KT, that was a cool little package. Might as well rock it in round 18.
You do, man.
Yeah, why not? Terp, I got to ask about Keenan Allen. Would you say that Keenan Allen, and the report by, I believe, Jordan Schultz was today, is, he's been in contact with a lot of teams. He's kind of waiting for the training camp picture to not be as cloudy and get a little more clarity on some of these teams' outlooks. Does Keenan Allen, especially right now, feel like a pretty solid late round best ball pick? We always talk about going for upside the young guys. Keenan Allen fits into that weird book of, he might be dusty, but he actually produced some really good weeks, even in a bad Chicago Bears offense. Enough so where you feel as though he might still has it and can be fantasy relevant. 17th round, though, basically my question is, if best ball he feels solid at his ADP as a value, 17th round, does that value remain in a managed league where we don't know where he's going to end up? And
of course. I mean, let's just say Keenan Allen doesn't make a team, you cut him. I mean, it doesn't hurt you in any way. But if Keenan Allen lands in a good spot, and like we've talked about this on the show a bunch of times, like we'll talk about it again. What's a good spot for Keenan Allen? Like, where's a spot that you feel like he could be a fantasy potential? We can go through the teams really quick. Washington, maybe. Eagles,
by the way,
no.
Washington, Luke McCaffrey.
That's the name I was telling you about. That was a hot name last year, but
a little dark. I'm hearing some good things, but yes, Washington, especially
Giants, no. Cowboys, no. Bears, no. Lions, no.
Ravens,
Vikings, no.
I mean, I guess Zay's there.
Packers makes a lot of sense, but they probably won't do it.
Pittsburgh,
barf. I mean, Colts, no.
Texans,
no.
Chargers is one that everyone's talking about, but they already have Ladd and Trey Harris. I don't think
Denver's not a terrible name, and they have a lot of young guys, but like it makes sense.
Keenan, someone's saying Keenan's going to a warm weather place. That actually feels right.
Patriots,
but it does feel like he's. No, I agree. I don't know if he's going to.
Cardinals is probably the best one in my opinion. Overall,
what does he want? We have no idea what he wants. Does he want money?
I think he wants to win. I don't think the money thing is. I mean, he's a guy that's been in the league forever. He's never had a chance to win anything. So my guess is he's going to be
Kansas City for Rashi, depending on the suspension.
49ers is another one that's not terrible.
Yeah.
Seattle's awful.
I mean, Sean literally just said Cowan got hurt with hamstring. Pearsall's injury prone. Ayuk is obviously ways away. Demarcus Robinson's going to be suspended. San Francisco's not a terrible shout as like the
only problem with San Francisco is Juwan Jennings and Keenan Allen kind of the same guy. Obviously, Juwan Jennings is, in my opinion, better, obviously, at this point, but aren't they kind of like the same player a little bit?
The thing is, right, we're in the 17th round, so at worst you just cut him. But
I love Keenan Allen.
Like the issue is with Keenan Allen, I feel like, and we kind of saw it last year too, is he might actually have some fantasy relevance this year. It just doesn't feel like it's going to come early. So it's a question of how, are you going to really be able to hold on to your 17th round pick who's old and there's no guarantee, just hoping that he can kind of warm up as the season goes on? That's what's tough about it.
These receivers right now in this range is disgusting, just completely disgusting.
Well, I mean, Austin, some years are better than others. And
there's always going to be that hot name, like Dante Thornton is a name that where he's being drafted. Like, if you're a believer in that offense, with news that's coming out today that he's the opening, on the first team, why not take a shot on an unknown like Dante Thornton? Because when you talk about like Dante Thornton versus Calvin Austin, what are the chances of you ever clicking Calvin Austin on your team? 0. I keep going back to team 11. Don't really know overall what the draft is about, but Calvin Austin's never going to hit your roster. Dante Thornton at this point might hit your roster. Maybe he's this year's Puka Nacua. I'm not saying he is, but maybe.
All right. We're no.
How many people thought Puka Nacua was going to be as good as he was? Not many. I'm not saying I'm not in any way a Dante Thornton fan or stan or any of that stuff, but If
I'm
you're
going to save
drafting-
us from Dante Thornton question because Dave Chiodo has a great question. How he likes to save one of his last picks for a free look player. So, any suggestions from the first two games? That's a fucking great question by Dave. I love that.
Good question. So let's see.
Gadsden.
Eagles. No. I mean, Will Shipley will be drafted.
I was about to say, Shipley's going too early. There's no one from the Eagles.
Dallas. I mean, maybe Jalen Tolbert, or if you really want like a free look, like wild card, like a Luke Shoemaker. He was valuable if something happened to Ferguson. That could be like a type of situation. From the Chargers, Tyler Conklin is
at least
name that if you want a free look. I mean, that's
Dude,
one that if
AJ
he probably will get drafted, so probably not.
I'm even just thinking beyond just like truly the last pick, just some general late round worthwhile, like bottom 4 round guys. Like is it Jalen Royals?
No, I just don't see there being any path where he gets there. Elijah Mitchell is a name that isn't really being
Noah Gray's a great shout. We went in the 18th round.
No Gray.
He might be the number one, like bottom 3-4 round guy for a free look.
Yeah. I mean, Kareem Hunt is not a terrible name if you're looking for one. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying Kareem Hunt's going to be good, but like Kareem Hunt was serviceable, and he started in a lot of lineups at the end of the season. Whether you like him or not, whether you think he's a good player or not, the Chiefs like him, and he might be the answer to the question if you're looking for a guy that if you think like obviously you're just trying to get a free look, maybe free square, the guy gets you 14, 15 points. It could be Kareem Hunt. I mean, that's probably the best answer out of the 4 games. Kareem Hunt would probably be my answer.
I like Gadsden.
I like Gadsden too, but Gadsden's probably going to be drafted. That's the thing about it. You're looking for somebody.
Yeah, but he won in what round? I amended the question to just be bottom 4 rounds.
Yeah,
not a true round 20 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fair.
KT makes a good point. Chiefs or Chargers defense.
Yeah, that's always a. But I hate that roster. Wasting whether it's a 20th round draft pick or not. It really doesn't matter. I get it, but I mean, it's just more work you got to do with Fab.
I have another because again we're late round random. Would you rather have Michael Penix or Cam Ward this year? I'm surprised that
it's a really good question. It's a really good question.
Nobody's talking about Ward. Should be a little. I think he's going to play his way into fantasy relevance this year.
I agree. I think Cam Ward is going to be a lot better than he's getting no press
none
at all.
Well, Calvin Ridley is the only like positive buzz there, but that's because of Cam Ward. So you would think there would be a correlation, but there's not.
I mean, it's probably still Michael Penix for me. I mean, I just think that offense is going to buzz. I think the Falcons are going to be a lot better this year than they were last year with Robinson, London, Mooney, the corpse of Kyle Pitts, Ray McLeod. But yeah, it's probably Penix for me. But I like Cam Ward this year. I think the third quarterback in this best ball draft, is really. It's not a best ball draft. It's obviously a main event, but Tyler Shuck, guys like that are just solid third quarterbacks in my opinion. I mean, Cam Ward's another one.
Brian Drake, Jimmy D.
Everybody likes that guy.
Yeah,
I would say Tyler Lockett outscores him this year.
Yeah, I just think Cam Ward is a guy who I would poor Will Levis. Yeah, poor Will Levis.
So sad. So sad. My boy Will Levis.
Yeah. Will Levis. A big what not even what could have been. Just he has all the prototypical traits and just can't put it together. But no, I don't know. It feels like a trap in a way because I feel like you and me have these conversations every year. Like, Titans not a good offense last year. And we're like, I kind of like this offense. Like, I know it's Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, and Tony Pollard. And
Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard and Spears are probably the only guys you're going to be like confidently.
Yeah.
drafting.
So Ridley's up to round 5. I mean, I think he probably pushes round 4. Cam Ward, his comment was like, they were like, what's your job or something like that. And he's like, it was something along the lines of like, I'm Calvin Ridley's provider. I don't know what he said. It wasn't provider, but it was something like that. He was basically just saying like, I'm Calvin.
Stop talking, Cam Ward. Stop talking. Say you hate Calvin Ridley. Say you never want to throw him the ball. Enough with this stuff.
It's also like, I don't know. I'm just.
Every year it's with Chig. It's the same thing. Last year was hype. He's a good player, but I don't see a path where Chig is going to be a redraft superstar.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. What do you? Just trying to even figure out where we want to go. Amari Cooper, that was a question that popped up when we were discussing Keenan Allen. Here's the difference. Keenan Allen not only showed flashes, had some really good games on a bad offense.
Amari Cooper was atrocious with the Bills. At times, I forgot he was on the team.
He fell off a cliff in a heartbeat.
Which is
he was coming off a good year, right? With Flacco, he had a great year actually.
Yeah.
And then, he struggles. He gets moved. His first game in Buffalo, we talked about this. He played 30% of snaps into the playbook, had a couple catches, or I think 4 or 5 catches, touchdown. And we're like, all right, let's go. And then did nothing for the rest of the year.
Nothing. Awful.
So, yeah, but again, round 20, maybe he was banged up. Who knows? You cut him if not. But I think him and Keenan are definitely different. And
people keep talking about Jalen Royals, and
yeah, as they should. It's round 19.
Why should they? What's the path of Jalen Royals getting there? Think about it. Rasheed Rice,
suspended,
Hollywood Brown,
small,
Travis Kelce,
always hurt. Old.
Is Jalen Royals good? We don't even is he playing over? Who's the Justin Watson? No, he's not. I would be surprised if he doesn't.
Should Justin Watson be drafted? Is that what we're talking about?
No, he shouldn't be. But there's just no I don't think Jalen Rose is a terrible player. I liked him coming in, but he just landed in the worst possible place when it comes to year one.
Again, Travis Kelce old, Rashee Rice suspended, Xavier Worthy small.
Think about what you're banking on. You're number one. You're banking on the Chiefs.
It's round 19. It's round 19.
I'd rather take a backup defense.
That's ridiculous, Turp. And that's ridiculous.
Maybe a little bit.
Ridiculous statement. I'm disappointed.
I stand by the statement.
Yeah, I don't know.
You look I am more Manor, whatever his name is. Everybody likes him. It seems like he's the popular
round 20 dart throw that everyone's
you're talking about guys that continue to rise up draft boards. Where did he get drafted here?
I don't think he's been drafted yet.
That's surprising.
That's a guy, right, where a couple of training camp clips.
5-6 rounds. You're talking about 5-6 rounds. You talk about these guys at the end of the draft, like we saw last year with Cam Steele, whatever his name was, the fullback. But these guys are going to start moving. Carson Steele,
I know I'm not saying Almanor is going to be Puka Nacua. He's not. No,
that's a good 20th draft pick.
My point is Puka, right? We saw creeping into the 20th round around this time. 19th. And then come the start of the season, he was going around 13, 14. And obviously which even that was an insane value, but it wouldn't shock me if Elic Almanor, rises into that, 14, 15, 16 range with some positive training camp buzz.
It's possible.
In the final pick of the draft is Tyler Bass. That is going to do it for me and Turp. That was a hell of a draft. That was a great chat room. That was a
great chat. Chat was buzzing.
Fascinating board. I thought there was a lot of interesting builds, a lot of great names discussed. Turp, we're going to be back next week for yet another main event coverage. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. As I said, this was a throwback show, right? Just you and me. But next week, the guys from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Sean Green, Ryan Kramer, are joining us. So
main event already sold out. These guys bring in, and we got an Eagles fan in one of them. So
an Eagles and a Jets fan.
We're
two opposite sides of the NFL fandom, the spectrum right there. So,
two great guys, two very good drafters. They're going to bring a lot
huge of FFPC fans, and also it's we obviously are always they know their stuff. They're in Vegas every year drafting the main event, bare knuckle, all that. But it's also I'm excited. They come in with a different spin, right? I mean, they are so knowledgeable as saying in fantasy, but they're also coming in here and they can there are the crossover between gambling and fantasy is fascinating to me. It's only grown as how people are using Vegas and the lines that they put out and their projections to influence their fantasy. And it's probably a pretty sound strategy. KT saying is bare knuckle happening this year. I will clarify. If it fills, that's kind of where we're at. I believe it's 5 or 6 spots left. So if it fills, it will gun, but it's still TBT for now. KT. Obviously, we'd always love it to happen, but it's just got to get there. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Terp, That's going to do it for us. We'll be back next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Ryan Kramer, Sean Green. Gonna have a great show. Thanks for everyone who joined. Thanks for everyone who joined this draft. All 9 of you specifically today who popped in and made it happen. So we will see you guys next week. Happy drafting.
See you guys.